You thought you had more time to think, more time to prepare, more time to delay what your soul has been screaming for in silence. But time, Scorpio, just ran out. The moon didn't wait, the universe didn't ask, and now, on the night of October the 6th bleeding into October the 7th of the year, 2025, everything begins to move, not in gentle waves, but in violent truth. This is not just another full moon. This is the closest supermoon of the decade, a gravitational climax, a cosmic pressure point, and it is aimed directly at the deepest place in your spirit where you thought no one could ever reach. They say the moon pulls the tides, but what they forget to say is that it pulls your blood too. And tonight, as it draws nearer than it has in years, it doesn't just reflect light, it reflects you. But not the version of you you show to the world. No, it reflects the version you've buried, the one that cries in parking lots when no one's looking, the one that stares blankly into mirrors, wondering how you ended up so far from yourself, the one that dreams of disappearing, not out of weakness, but because you're sick of performing a life you never truly chose. And this moon sees that version. This moon summons that version. It doesn't want your smile. It wants your secrets. And it wants them now. You may have already felt it, a strange pressure behind your eyes, a tightness in your chest that won't loosen even when you sleep, a sudden inability to tolerate the things you use to numb yourself with. The patterns are collapsing. The lies are crumbling. The masks are slipping. And not because you're doing anything, simply because the sky is doing it for you. This is the night where the moon presses so close to Earth. It doesn't just light up the sky. It invades you. It scans your soul like a mirror too bright to avoid. You won't be able to lie your way out of this one. Not to others. And especially not to yourself. You were taught to fear chaos. But, Scorpio, chaos is your native tongue. What you're truly afraid of is clarity. Because clarity means decision. It means no more pretending, no more hoping they'll change, no more waiting for a sign. Because this is the sign, and it's massive. This supermoon doesn't whisper, it shouts. And what it shouts is simple: you cannot stay here anymore. This is the moon that strips your comfort bare and leaves only what's real. The relationship you've been convincing yourself is working, watch how hollow it feels under this light. The career path that looked good on paper but drains you every day, feel the disgust bloom in your chest like smoke. The friendships that survive on old stories and dead loyalty, listen closely, they're already silent. Because this moon doesn't just illuminate, it eliminates. And still, it's not here to punish. It's here to free you. But the price of freedom is radical honesty. The kind of honesty that makes you physically shake. The kind of honesty that makes you cry for hours. Not out of weakness, but because truth has weight and it finally hit you all at once. This moon doesn't wait for your readiness. It demands your willingness. Willingness to let go of the version of you that made it this far, but can't take you any further. Willingness to stop bargaining with the universe for a softer transformation. Willingness to look in the mirror and say, I know exactly what needs to go, and I'm finally ready to let it. And make no mistake, things will go, not by force, not even by choice. They will simply expire. The mask will stop fitting. The lies will taste like poison. The roles you've been playing will start to itch like a costume worn too long. And that's when the shift begins. Not with fireworks, but with a deep inner stillness that says, I'm done. Not angry, not bitter, just done. The cycle ends because it no longer resonates, because you no longer recognize yourself inside it. Scorpio, you are the sign of death and rebirth. But for years, you've been stuck in the middle space, too scared to bury the old quote, too hesitant to claim the new. This supermoon ends that hesitation. It's not here to guide you gently. It's here to break you open. Not because you're broken, but because what's inside you has been suffocating. And when the moon gets this close, it acts like a scalpel. It cuts away what's fake. It peels back what's performative, and it leaves you raw, unfiltered, and finally real. This night may bring visions, dreams that aren't dreams at all, memories from futures you haven't lived, messages from people who left long ago. You'll see their names. You'll feel their presence. You'll hear your own inner voice at full volume for the first time in what feels like centuries, and you'll remember you always knew you were just waiting for permission. And tonight, the sky gives it to you. Loudly, irrevocably, finally. Do not run from what you feel. Do not numb it with scrolling, drinking, talking too much, or pretending you don't care. Sit with it. Let it wreck you. Let it clear the room. Because what's left after this night is the real you. The version that's been forming quietly under all the noise. The version that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't perform. The version that doesn't apologize for needing more. The version that trusts their instincts so fully, they walk away before proof arrives. That's the you this moon reveals. That's the you that rises when the false life falls. So tonight, Scorpio, don't look away. Don't rationalize what you're being shown. If your soul shakes, let it. If your chest burns, breathe through it. If your intuition screams, listen. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough. This is the moment your story burns down to ash so your truth can stand where the ruins used to be. And the most terrifying part, you won't even miss what's leaving. You'll wonder how you ever thought it fit you. That's the power of this supermoon. It doesn't just light up the sky, it rewrites your soul. And once it does, there is no going back. There are masks we choose, and there are masks we inherit. Some are shaped by survival, some by silence, and others, Scorpio, are carved by time itself, stitched together by childhood betrayals, societal expectations, generational fear, and the sharp edges of past lives you don't consciously remember but feel in every decision you make. The tragedy isn't that you wore a mask. The tragedy is that you wore it for so long. You thought it was your face. Under the blinding light of this supermoon on the night between October the 6th and October the 7th of the year 2025, that mask begins to disintegrate, not with a dramatic flourish, but with a slow, crumbling honesty that creeps in like water through cracked stone. And it will feel disorienting because you've built your life around the version of yourself you thought you had to be, the strong one, the quiet one, the mysterious one, the one who keeps it all together while bleeding in silence. But that identity, so carefully maintained, wasn't born from truth. It was born from need. And now, the need is gone. You may find yourself reacting strangely in the days to come. Someone will insult you and you won't feel the urge to defend. Someone will invite you into an old pattern and you'll feel physically repelled. The old self would have jumped, explained, justified, smiled through discomfort. But now you just stare at the moment and feel a calm refusal blooming in your gut like thunderclouds refusing to break. That's not numbness. That's awakening. That's the moment the mask slips, and something more ancient beneath it begins to breathe. You'll realize that the roles you've played, good daughter, stoic son, perfect partner, harmless friend, were never real. They were armor. But the war is over. You don't need to hide in character anymore. And this moon doesn't let you fake it. It forces you to confront the story you've been telling about yourself. The one that says, I'm fine. When you're bleeding, the one that says, I'm strong. When what you really mean is, I'm tired of being the strong one while no one checks if I'm okay. The one that says, I don't need anyone. When what you really mean is, no one ever stayed long enough to be needed. This is the moment when your nervous system stops pretending, and it's not pretty. The breakdown isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like staring at a wall for 3 hours because your body doesn't want to participate in the performance anymore. Sometimes it looks like rage at things that didn't bother you yesterday. Sometimes it looks like crying without context. And sometimes it's simply the inability to say yes when your mouth has been trained to comply. You may feel like you're losing your grip, but the truth is, you're finally letting go. Letting go of how they see you. Letting go of who they expect you to be. Letting go of the pressure to be digestible, agreeable, or safe. And most terrifying of all, letting go of the identity that kept you from being abandoned. Because the mask, as beautiful and functional as it was, came with a cost. It silenced your instincts. It dimmed your fire. It made you palatable for people who were never meant to sit at your table. Scorpio, this is not just a shedding. It's a remembering, a return. You didn't come here to play small. You didn't come here to obey invisible rules built by people who fear your depth. You didn't come here to shrink so others could feel tall. You came here to transform, again and again. And this supermoon, it's not asking if you're ready. It's telling you it's time. And yes, it will hurt. Like peeling off skin that's fused with cloth. Like waking up and realizing every mirror you've ever looked into was a funhouse lie. But what you'll see when the mask is gone is breathtaking. You'll see a face you recognize, not from this lifetime, maybe, but from some deep, flickering memory of who you were before the world taught you shame. You'll feel your voice drop into its real tone, your walk shift into its real rhythm, your laugh finally ring with resonance instead of tension. The people around you may not like this version. Some will recoil. Some will accuse you of changing. Some will beg for the mask back, not because they loved you, but because they loved what you gave them while wearing it. And Scorpio, that's the final test. Can you watch their confusion and stay unmasked? Can you let their discomfort be theirs? Not yours to fix, because this is the turning point. Not a gentle evolution, but a brutal unveiling, the kind that ends cycles, that severs karmic cords, that leaves you shaking but clean. You'll start to speak differently, walk differently, love differently, because you're not operating from the story of who you were. You're operating from the truth of who you've always been. And the moment you walk away from an old identity that never loved you back, the universe will meet you there. New people, new paths, new power. Not because you forced it, but because you finally made space for it. The moon doesn't reward effort. It rewards alignment. And tonight, you aligned by removing the false layers that kept your truth hostage. So when you feel the grief rise, grief for a self you performed for years, let it mourn the version of you that was always trying, always proving, always pretending. Light a candle for them. Say thank you. And then walk away. Because the mask is gone now. And the one who's left standing, that's who you've been waiting to meet all along. There is a moment brief. Electric. Impossible to reclaim when a door opens. Not with sound or warning, but with a feeling that shoots straight through your spine. It does not wait for permission. It does not ask if you are ready. It appears like a whisper turned into thunder. And if you don't move, if you don't choose, it slams shut with the force of every excuse you've ever made. Scorpio, that door is open right now, and the supermoon above you is holding it open for only a moment longer. This isn't about manifesting anymore. That time is past. This isn't about wishing or hoping or journaling your desires like poetry on lined paper. This is about motion, about movement, about stepping fully, finally, into the life you know is meant for you but have been too tangled in fear to claim. That door, the one you've seen in dreams, the one you've knocked on in secret prayers, it's here. But it will not stay. And you must decide. You felt it for weeks. That sense of pressure, that invisible countdown ticking behind every conversation, behind every familiar routine that suddenly feels unbearable. The discomfort isn't random. It's the sound of the universe telling you now or never, the job you should have left, the boundary you should have drawn, the truth you should have spoken, the leap you've been rehearsing in silence for years. The universe is no longer waiting. It's testing. You see, Scorpio, there are moments in life that are cosmically coded. They carry a pulse that doesn't just move time, it bends it. The supermoon on the night of October the 6th into October the 7th of the year 2025 is one of those moments. It accelerates what has been stalled. It unearths what has been buried. It brings forward what you have denied. And most dangerously, it removes the safety net of delay. If you hesitate now, the door won't just close. It will seal. And here's the most terrifying truth: you already know what's behind that door. It's not a mystery. It's not a surprise. It's the version of your life that has been circling you in signs. Dreams. Strange coincidences. Songs. And synchronicities. It's the relationship that would heal you if you dared to open your heart. It's the career that would finally fit you if you stopped trying to contort yourself into someone else's expectations. It's the freedom that lives just beyond the lie. You keep repeating that you need more time, more money, more permission, more certainty. You don't. The clarity is already here. But clarity without action is just self-torture. You might be hoping for another sign, another confirmation. But Scorpio, the moon has already screamed the truth into your bones. If you keep waiting, you are not being patient. You are being afraid. And fear, under this light, is fatal to your future. The longer you stand still, the more the door begins to fade, until one day you look back and wonder if it was ever really there. Or if you just dreamed it while life passed you by. You will be tempted to compromise, to negotiate with the door, to say, I'll take a step if I get a sign. But that's not how thresholds work. You don't get to cross by waiting. You cross by leaping. And this leap, it doesn't promise certainty. It only promises liberation. You don't need to know what happens next. You only need to trust that not crossing is a betrayal of your soul. The cost of inaction isn't just staying where you are. It's becoming someone you no longer recognize. It's waking up 1 year from now, 5 years from now, realizing you built an entire life around avoidance, around the illusion of safety, around a mask that no longer fits. You'll find yourself surrounded by people who don't know the real you, in places that drain you, with regrets you can't articulate. That's what happens when you choose comfort over the unknown. And Scorpio, the unknown wants you now. Not because you're reckless, but because you're finally ready. You've earned this. You've bled for this. You've torn yourself apart for this moment. And the only thing between you and everything you've been calling in is one brave, irreversible décision. Some of you will feel it in your chest. That pull toward a new city, a new love, a new voice that doesn't beg anymore. Some of you will feel it in your hands, ready to create, to build, to finally begin. And some of you will feel it in your spine, that primal knowing that says run. Run from the cage you helped decorate. Run from the rules you never agreed to. Run from the expectations that were never yours to carry. This is not chaos. It's alignment. And the universe, it rewards those who act while the doors open. The moment you choose, really choose, you'll feel the shift. You'll feel the timeline jump. You'll see things move that have been frozen for years. Money flows. Messages arrive. People call. Things click. Because momentum follows conviction, and the universe follows you once you stop doubting the direction. So if you've been waiting for something, this is it. This is the window. This is the portal. This is the once-in-a-decade doorway that demands everything and gives even more. But if you don't move now, You may never get this moment again, because not all doors stay open, and some, once closed, are never meant to open twice. You blame the sky, the shifting moods, the retrogrades, the people who left without a word, the ones who stayed too long, the betrayals, the delays, the near misses. You looked out at the world, Scorpio, and wondered when it would stop spinning you in circles. But under this light, this supermoon that sees through skin, story, and survival, the truth begins to hum beneath your ribs. It was never out there. It was always you. The storm you've been running from isn't chasing you. It's inside you. It always has been. And now, it's rising. This moon on the night of October the 6th through October the 7th of the year, 2025, is not simply a reflection of lunar light. It is a mirror to your internal weather. It amplifies not what the world is doing to you, but what you've been doing to yourself. The turbulence, the quiet violence, the way you've silenced your instincts, bit your tongue until it bled, smiled through the shame, lowered your voice, made yourself smaller. This is what erupts now, not to destroy you, but to show you what was never meant to be contained. Because Scorpio, you were never meant to be peaceful on the surface while drowning beneath it. You were never meant to perform calm while chaos devoured you from within. You were never meant to carry the weight of unspoken dreams, locked tight rage, inherited grief, and then call it strength. You are not broken for wanting more. You are not selfish for needing space. You are not weak for falling apart under the weight of everything you pretended wasn't hurting you. This moon does not ask you to hold it together. It asks you to let go. Let go of the identity built from ashes. Let go of the version of you that only exists in response to other people's fears. Let go of the idea that to be loved you must be easy, quiet, agreeable. Let go of the belief that you must suffer in order to earn peace, because you've already suffered. And peace is not earned. It is claimed. And to claim it, you must walk into the storm. That means rage. That means grief. That means screaming into the void with the voice you once buried to make others comfortable. It means collapsing in your car at midnight with mascara down your cheeks and breath that won't steady. It means shaking not because you're weak, but because your soul is finally shaking free. The moon doesn't want your performance. It wants your permission to feel what you've locked away, to break what has outlived its purpose, to unravel everything that doesn't match who you're becoming. You'll notice it in your reactions. The things you used to tolerate become unbearable. The people you made excuses for now make your skin crawl. The places that once felt like home feel haunted by the version of you who begged to be seen. That's not random. That's clarity. And clarity is not always graceful. Sometimes it roars. Sometimes it subs. Sometimes it burns down your life and dares you to rebuild it. This time with your real name on the foundation. This storm inside you, it is not here to ruin you. It is here to reveal you. The anger that rises is not a problem to fix. It is a compass. The sadness is not a weakness. It is a message. The dread, the panic, the electricity that dances in your chest in the middle of the night, they are signals. They are sacred alarms telling you something vital. The self you've been pretending to be cannot hold the power you're about to access. And Scorpio, make no mistake, your power is returning. Not the performative kind, not the armor, not the edge you wear when you're scared but don't want to look it. This is different. This is the kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't threaten. It knows. It walks into rooms without needing permission. It says no without explanation. It chooses peace without apology. And it does not shrink. But that version of you can only rise through the storm. Not around it. Not beneath it. Through it. So tonight, let yourself unravel. Let the grief move like thunder through your bones. Let the words you've never said pour out of your mouth like fire. Let the sob you've swallowed for 10 years finally escape. Let your breath break. Let your hands shake. Let your voice tremble. Let yourself become the truth you've been burying under survival, because once the storm inside you is felt fully, not partially, it loses its control. It no longer hides in headaches and stomach knots and sleepless nights. It no longer fuels decisions made from fear. It no longer dictates the people you choose, the dreams you abandon, the life you settle for. Instead, it becomes your signal. It says this is what matters. It says this is where it hurts. It says this is where the healing begins. And that is the moment it ends, not with a scream, not with applause, but with a breath, a single breath. One you didn't realize you were holding for years. One that says, I'm still here. I survived my own silence. I survived myself. And now I choose to speak, to feel, to live with. Nothing left locked inside me. You don't need to tame the storm. You only need to stop denying it was yours all along. Because the sky didn't change, you did. There comes a morning when you wake up and the air feels different. Not because the world changed overnight, but because you did. The pulse you've been carrying, the jitter of anticipation, the constant bracing for impact, is gone. In its place, a steadiness, not the brittle calm of someone suppressing chaos, but the grounded stillness of someone who has walked through fire and come out on the other side without the costume they once wore. This is what it feels like. Scorpio, when the hiding ends, this is what it feels like to be seen first by yourself, then by everything else. In the nights of October the 6th and October the 7th of the year 2025, the supermoon didn't just expose your wounds. It also exposed your capacity, the capacity to let go of masks you didn't know you were wearing, the capacity to stop bargaining with the universe for time, the capacity to stand in a storm and not flinch. All of that led you here, to this new life that is not built on survival but on sovereignty. For the first time in years, maybe décades, you are not performing a version of yourself to earn love. You are living from the raw center of who you are. And from that place, everything reorganizes. You will notice it in small things at first. The messages you receive, the conversations you have, the way your body responds to rooms you enter. Where once there was tension, there is neutrality. Where once there was chasing, there is magnetism. People look at you differently. Not because you've become someone new, but because they are finally seeing the one you've always been. Opportunities that used to slip through your fingers begin to stay. Doors that once slammed now open without you knocking. This is not magic. This is alignment. This is what happens when your energy stops being split between the mask and the self. There will still be echoes of the old life. People will test your boundaries, waiting to see if you will put the mask back on. Some will call you cold. Others will call you selfish. They are reacting to the absence of the version of you who fed them with your silence. Let them. Their discomfort is not your emergency anymore. You no longer have to bend yourself into shapes to keep others comfortable. You are not obligated to stay small so others don't feel threatened. This is the new rhythm of your existence, clear. Unapologetic. Unhidden. And in this unhidden state, you will find a different kind of intimacy. Relationships rooted in honesty instead of performance. Work that reflects your real interests instead of your rehearsed identity. Conversations that leave you feeling nourished instead of drained. This is the quiet miracle of a life built on truth. You don't have to manage it. It breathes with you. It evolves with you. It holds you without asking you to fracture yourself to fit. The path ahead won't be without challenge. Growth never is. But now, challenges meet a self that isn't already exhausted from pretending. You are free to respond instead of react, free to walk away instead of endure, free to choose what aligns rather than what numbs. This freedom is not the absence of responsibility, it is the presence of choice. And choice is where real power lives. You may find yourself creating more, writing, painting, speaking, building, not because you are trying to prove anything, but because energy once locked up in survival is now flowing through your hands. Ideas arrive like birds landing on an open palm. Inspiration strikes in the middle of the day, not just in the sleepless nights. Even your body begins to change, the breath deeper, the skin clearer, the shoulders lower, as if your cells are slowly rewriting themselves to match the truth you are living. This is the life that begins when the hiding ends. A life where you no longer wait for permission to exist. A life where you do not dilute your voice to be heard. A life where your intuition is no longer a faint whisper but a steady guide. A life where you no longer apologize for needing what you need, loving what you love, or walking away from what you don't. This is not a fantasy. This is the real you, uncovered. And the best part, you don't have to force any of it. The Supermoon did not install a new version of you like an app. It simply stripped away everything that wasn't yours so the real one could stand. That's why, in the days ahead, you may catch yourself laughing for no reason, feeling lighter in rooms that once felt heavy, making decisions without the tremor of second-guessing. That's not coincidence. That's recalibration. That's the self you've been growing into finally stepping forward with no mask to hold it back. So as you move through this new chapter, all remember this: you are not starting from scratch. You are starting from truth. Every heartbreak, every delay, every night you thought would break you, it was all preparing you for this. The hiding was never wasted. It was a gestation. But the gestation is over. The life you once glimpsed only in visions is here. All that's left is to live it without apology. When you step outside and see the moon fading back into its ordinary size, remember what happened while it was at its brightest. Remember the door you stepped through, the mask you left behind, the storm you let yourself feel. Because the moon's glow will dim, but the change it catalyzed inside you will not. You are not who you were on October the 5th. You are not even who you were last night. You are the version of yourself who chose to stop hiding. And that, Scorpio, is the real beginning.